everybody, welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura and you're watching Thursday Threads. Today I want to finish my Jelly Roll Puppy Dog Cuddle Quilt. And I am not saying I'm finishing it the right way, the approved way. It's my way. So I've got my fleece that I'm going to use for the backing. I've got my top. And the first thing I want to do is go and press it and just kind of make sure all the creases are out. And then we'll be right back and we will get started. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm pinning it every so often. And this just kind of to make sure it doesn't slip. And you can see on the back, should be nice and smooth. And hopefully no wrinkles. And I'm using some large safety pins. They've even got some where they've got like a little bent for doing really thick things. Now, little trick for knowing which is the right side and wrong side on fleece. I always look for the selvage, and where it's printed up, I always count that as the right side. So I am doing this wrong side to wrong side. There is no batting. It is just my top and my fleece. Now we could have used flannel, but my experience is flannel will shrink. So if I'm using flannel, I always want to pre-wash. My experience with this fleece from Joann's is that it doesn't shrink. I've had really good experience with the fleece from Joann's. So that's when I'm not going to wash it. I'm just going to put it on the back and I'm going to go. Same thing with this this cotton fabric. I've had real good experience with this cotton fabric. But that's something you've got to make the decision on when you are doing yourself. So I have this where I've kind of lightly pressed it down and tried to get rid of the wrinkles. I've got it pinned down with a little bit of extra on all the sides. Now I need to go work on my machine. So let's go. I am going to use a walking foot. And I'd like to show you what a walking foot looks like, just in case you don't know. Let's turn the machine off. And then we'll talk about how you will install it. So this is a walking foot. Walking foot is designed for when you're working with slippery or fabric that's prone to puckering, or when you're working with very thick, multiple layers. I could probably get away with just a regular foot, where this is just the top and the back with no batting. But because I'm not going to do a fancy design, because it's really a busy quilt with all the colors and the different fabric from that Jelly Roll. So I've taken the presser foot, the little, everything off. I'm going to use this little space right here for this. And this is going to go over this. So we're just going to put that there. Okay. So you can see that that little arm is over my the needle bar. My screw is in between there. And then that should have us going. And I'm going to put my needle in the center. And I said, I think we're just going to do regular stitch. But I think I am going to go, it's the standard is 2.5 for the length. I think I'm going to take that up just a little bit. Just to 3. Okay. I'm going to use gray for my top and my bottom. Again, because there's so many colors with the red, the white, the teal, the blues. I'm afraid any other color is just, it's not going to look right. But gray ought to go with all of it, and the gray will go good with that backing. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to kind of roll one side so that it's not quite as bulky. So I'm just going to kind of roll this side up. And I'm going to start in the middle. So about the middle, I'm going to put it on my machine, and I'm just going to probably find me a guide to go down. Okay. And I'm just going to stitch it down the very middle. Okay. So let's do that. So we're just going to pick a spot here. I have placed my top on my back with room all along all the sides. And I'm going to always be kind of smoothing it out. So let's bring it down a couple, and I'm going to go back. And I'm not too worried about this. This is going to be covered up by the binding. I don't have a long arm, so I'm doing this on my regular sewing machine. I'm kind of picking up the bottom and laying it loosely in my lap so it doesn't pull. This is not the quick part of it. This is kind of time consuming, and it will wear on my arms quite a bit. So this is one where I will need to take breaks, and that's okay. Make sure that's out of the way. And if I don't have the exact perfect straight seam, I'm okay with that. You can use disappearing ink if you wanted to draw. You could use, chalk or different things. But this is one I'm just going to try to make a straight seam down. And I am not going to worry about it being real close together where there's no batting in between to, start getting separated. And batting can do that sometimes. So I'm going to keep on going down, and then I'm going to show you what I do next. Okay, so I'll be back in a couple minutes or so. So I've got my first seam completed, and I'm going to try to just make them as even as I can, spacing across. So I'm thinking about 2 blocks over, 2 blocks over, 2 blocks over, and I'm going to go from up and down. So 1 line down, about 5, maybe 6 more to go, and then I will work on my other sewing down, and I can skip 3 or 4 as I'm going down. I will start in the center and work my way out. Try to do everything I can to keep the fabrics to be spreading out and not wrinkling. Okay? So I'm going to go back to the machine, back to my walking foot, back to my gray, and keep working on attaching the fleece to this top. We'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, so I have finished doing my seams up and down and across. I have trimmed the edges. I used my rotary cutter ruler combo, which just made it wonderfully easy. And you can see from the back, I did not. I've got one here, I've got a seam here, seam here, seam here. It's just nice, large seams. No reason to have them too close because I don't have the batting on the inside. So I've trimmed off all the edges. I then took some fabric. I've got some gray and white polka dot, and I've cut 2.5-inch strips, and I'm going to sew them on each side. So I've already got them pinned on this side and pinned on the other side, and then I'll go and pin them on the top and the bottom, and then I will show you what I'm going to do, how I'm going to bind it. So don't go away, we'll be right back. Alright, so I have finished adding my 2.5-inch strips to each side, and then I am going to take one side at a time. And I'm going to kind of fold it in half, and I'm just going to press it down. And I'm going to fold it again. And I'm going to press it down. And I'm just going to go one side at a time and do that. While I'm doing this, I want to make sure everybody understands something. I am not formally trained. I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I really enjoy sewing. And most of what I do, I've learned through trial and error, practice, looking at it going, I wonder if this would work. So you don't have to have a PhD in sewology in order to make things. What you do have to have is a little bit of patience and a whole lot of forgiveness of yourself for making mistakes. What I learned from doing this is I don't use the walking foot very much. What I learned, and this is what I love, when I make these videos, I learn more than y'all do. I learned I need more practice with the walking foot. So I guess that means I have to make more little blankets. And since we have some babies being born at church and other places, I will probably get a nice amount of practice on that. And then, of course, with the holidays coming up and wanting to, give gifts to some of the shut-ins at our church and things, may not get it this year, but I'll have all next year that I can practice. But it is just sort of a way of finding a time to practice. If you go to a quilt shop and you look at the pricing and go, oh, I cannot do that, that's okay. Okay? Go to a thrift store. Goodwill, Samaritan Center, little thrift stores. A lot of times they will have pieces of fabric. Now, sometimes they're very proud of their fabric. Other times, it's all bundled together and you can get some really good deals. Joann's, always watch for the sales. Now, if you happen to be up in Cleveland, Tennessee, there's two absolutely marvelous quilt shops up there. One is Hide or Hangout, and the other is Betty's. Independently owned, small business. Now, a lot of times you can find some really good deals. What I like to do too is I'll pick up like holiday fabric for extremely good prices afterwards, like Halloween. Right now, I was at a Walmart the other day, and their Halloween fabric was 99 cents a yard. I didn't get any because I didn't need any. But that would have been a good way for you to practice. And I'm going to go ahead and do this other side. So I'm doing the left side and the right side. And then I'm going to take it over to the machine. Alright, well, I've still got my needle in the center position. And I'm going to bring this over. I'm going to want my stitching to be right here at the line, at the fold. Alright, doesn't have to be exactly on it. You can zigzag across it if that's what you want. This time, because this is such a busy pattern, I'm going to go very, very simple with my stitching. But I'm going to try to get right along the line. Okay? So I've got it in the center. My needle is in the center position. This little guide right here, the inside edge of my foot, is what I'm going to use as my guide for the fold. And that's going to put my stitching right along here. Okay? I'd like it to be a little bit closer, but to make sure I'm going nice and straight, I want to make sure I'm using a guide. And I'm going to start a little ways down. Okay? And I'm going to go backwards. And then I'm going to go forwards. And I'm still using the walking foot. Part of that's because I know I need the practice. I started with it, I'm going to finish with it. You see how I'm right there by the line? I'm still keeping my fabric right on the inside line. I'm going to finish this up and then I will show you what it looks like. Be right back. And it is completed. And it measures about 47 inches by 55 inches. So it's going to make a really nice little cuddle blanket for on the couch watching TV, in the car. And it can be reversible, so that's kind of neat. Yay. Nice and soft with the fleece on the back. Not too heavy, not too light. You're not going to get, you're not going to burn up and you're not going to freeze. This is perfect for you. You just don't want a little bit over you. And I'm really proud of myself. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Like I said, it just means I need to have more patience with myself, take my time, and I need more practice. You know I'm going to hate that, right? Yeah, darn the luck. That means I have to do more sewing. I think that might mean another trip to Joann's. Let's see if I can talk my husband into taking me. He's really good at picking out the colors, and I do have his piece of fabric I need some help with. So, that's it for today. I do hope you have enjoyed. I hope that you have learned something. If the only thing you've learned is that if she can do that, how much better can you do? You know? This is something you can do it if you want to. And it is a lot of fun. It does take practice. So, thank you all so much for watching. And I hope you'll come back. Be sure to check the description for any helpful links, any products that I might be using. The mats, the rotary ruler combo, the little safety pins things, the walking foot. Anything like that that you think that I use that you might be interested in, be sure to check the description for those links. Check us out on Facebook at Crazy Dave's Crew, also at Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners, and on the internet at cdcrew.com. Have a great week and happy sewing!